Hilchos Sukkah Halacha Yuches. No Sukkah ain't matem begovo. The beauty of a sukkah does not cause it to become lessened because it's near the schach. But it can cause it to become too small. Let's see what the Peirush says. But if it was only 7 by 7, you put it on the walls, then it's less than 7 by 7. Because the Mishnah adds that even the height, if it's more than 20 amas, the noi wouldn't help to make it lower than 20 amas, because it's not schach. Even though when schach itself has, part of the schach is falling lower than 20 amas, it is kosher. Now, a sheet that's found in the sukkah that's only 3 tochim is different from halacha base, by where you have parts of the schach that go into the sukkah. That's 10 tochim, that makes it possible. Because you can't, there it says, if it's lower than 10 tochim, the schach causes it to be lower, and the sheet doesn't. You shouldn't put anything inside the sukkah that's only 10 tochim high. Shulchan Aruch says that the halacha is that if it's higher than 20 amas and you put things there, and therefore the opening is less than 20 amas, is not called making it, it's more minimizing it. The Mishnah Berurah adds that even if the shade of the noi is greater than the sun, it's possible because it's not schach. Then let's say he used it with things that are colored, and he brings the base of Prima-Godom B'Shem Lavush, that if you used grass and flowers, the schach, it also doesn't minimize it, because you only put that out for beauty, not for shade. Therefore, it's not called a sukkah. Therefore, you cannot make it, if it's above 20 amas, it's not possible if it's only yutzvochim, because the noi, they become not nullified to the sukkah. It's not called a diros rucha. The Shulchan Aruch paskins, if there's only 7 by 7, he put in garments to make it nice, and now it's less than 7 by 7, it's possible. And Shavur cites Rashi that since he cannot hold his head and his majority of his body and his table, it's possible. People Godom's questions whether Noy Sukkah is poisonous, it's only with Rabbanon or it's a deraisa. If it's being whether you can sit in it as a sukkah. Rambam continues saying, if the Noy Sukkah was distant from the roof, 4 tvachim or more, it's possible. Because it therefore turns out that the person who's sitting there is like he's not sitting under the schach and under the decorations. For example, they may be all apples. Or vessels, you can't make schach with them because they are mekabel tumah. The Magen Mishnah cites sukkah. It we learn Noy Sukkah, Noy Sukkah, which is distant from it for Tzvachim. Nachon Omak Sheva. Nachon says kosher. Chizna say it's possible. The Rif says the halacha is like Chizna it's possible. My Mishnah cites that there are those who explain that it's only possible if the noi itself, with the shade would be greater than its sun, and it's distant 4 tvachim. And since Rambam didn't make this difference, it would seem that he's not of that opinion. The Mishnah questions, if according to the Rambam, when the decoration is distant 4 tvachim, even though the sun is greater than the shade, it's possible. Right. Even though the noi doesn't give shade more, and the sun is more than the shade, why, therefore, when you have pieces of schach that fall into the 10 tvachim, and the sukkah is only high 10 tvachim, if the sun is greater than the shade, the sukkah should be kosher. If not for the fact that you can't live in it. And he explains that when it comes to schach, obviously the branches are part of the schach, but noi is reckoned by itself and it does not become nullified. Therefore, if the sun is greater than the shade, it's possible when it's 4 tefachim away. Shulchan writes, if you put out a sheet under the schach for beauty, if it's within 4 tefachim, for the schach it's kosher. If it's distant 4 tefachim, it's possible. The Mishnah Berurah explains, since it's distant 4 tefachim, it's considered by itself a separate item, and it's not bought with the schach. As we find, he's not sitting under the sail sukkah, only under the sail of the noi sukkah. He cites in the Ran that it's bo, that even if those decorations they don't cause a shade because the sun is always more than the shade, it's still forbidden. My mission is the opinion that that's understood from the language of the Rambam, and the Ran cites that the or is lenient. Mishnah Berurah doesn't say the halacha between the two concepts, but he does innovate that it becomes possible if the noi is distant 4 tefachim is when it's 4 tefachim wide, like schach posel, that the psul is only by 4 tefachim. The Ramah admonishes that one should not put beautify the sukkah only less than 4 from the sukkah. Even minadin, there's no issa when it's more than $1 tefachim away if it doesn't have 4 tefachim width. But l'chadchili, to begin with, one should have it close to the schach. Mishnah Berurah explains, we're afraid maybe it'll make a lot of beautification until it'll be a shiur and it'll sit underneath it. It'll be a shiur of $1 tefachim, and therefore you should not put up something which would be possible as noi to the schach more than 4 tefachim from the schach, even for the sake of beauty, lest you sit under it and all the beautiful things place you under something which is schach posel.